Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today, the How to Get the Most ROI from Your Digital Marketing. I'd like to introduce our team or ourselves. I'm Megan Sherwood. I'm the VP of Client Services at Hivehouse, and I'm also a strategist. And I'm going to pass it over to Delaney.
I am Delaney. I'm one of the inbound marketing specialists here at Hivehouse, and my job is to implement the day-to-day inbound marketing functions that we do for our clients. And we are also joined by Catherine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Feeney. I'm the marketing strategist here at Hivehouse Digital. I focus on the bigger picture, working alongside our clients to help them build high-quality strategies to successfully exceed sales and marketing goals.
All right. A little bit about Hivehouse before we get into the meat of the presentation. Hivehouse is a Platinum HubSpot Partner Agency. We're located in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We specialize in building digital programs from the ground up, and we work with industrial clients in the construction, manufacturing, and engineering industries, as well as the professional service firms that serve those industries. And today, we will be talking about the importance of a marketing budget. In our experience, a marketing budget is an incredibly valuable tool that can guide your marketing endeavors, showcase clear ROI for marketing spend, and help champion your marketing plans to leadership in your company. We will cover what exactly a marketing budget is, the signs you should start using one, preparing to build one, and how to build one. Also, we'll be sharing our budget checklist in our webinar follow-up email, so please keep an eye out for that.
Now we will dive into what is included in a marketing budget. But first, let's define it. A marketing budget outlines all marketing-related expenses over a given period of time. They're typically built annually or quarterly and can include a wide range of activities that promote your brand, company, services, or products, including lead generation, brand awareness, branding, events, sponsorships, and everything underneath that helps your marketing execute these activities. A marketing budget can also include marketing activities that don't necessarily have a cost associated with them, such as strategy, for example. The costs associated with building out your marketing budget are as follows. But first, you need to answer, what is the marketing channel for your company? Once that is identified, you have laid the groundwork for the associated costs that you can begin building out and prioritizing into your budget. Again, these costs can include digital advertising, content, sales, PR, staffing, and traditional marketing efforts. Marketing budgets allow you to align your marketing strategies with your business goals by allocating the proper amount of resources towards the areas your business needs the most. Some of the common signs you need to take a more strategic approach to your marketing spend are when lead generation is low and you've been leaning on referrals in the past, you're not meeting business revenue and growth goals, you have poor customer reviews and feedback, or you're expanding business services and products. This can include a brand refresh, pivoting your business direction, or new ownership. Additionally, you may have a loss of market share to competitors. And finally, a lack of in-house capacity to fulfill marketing needs. Marketing budgets can also be champions in discussions with finance or leadership to show a clear justification for marketing spend. If you're a marketing leader in your company and you show a plan of how you'll spend marketing dollars and a clear progression of goals, leadership will likely be more comfortable spending more on marketing down the road.
So let's talk about the steps we recommend when putting together your marketing budget for next year. And let's make sure that your budget and your goals are aligned. So to begin the preparation of your marketing budget, you need a deep understanding of where your company stands in the marketplace. Do you have big growth goals for next year, or are you hoping to maintain market share? And how does your industry typically generate revenue? Is it through referrals or leads? And where do you want to position yourself against the competition? The typical budget really depends on those growth goals. Generally speaking, and according to HubSpot, the average marketing budget is 11% of the company's overall budget. But it really depends on a company's size, the stage of growth, and the importance of marketing on sales within your industry. So with that in mind, a marketing budget typically ranges from 5 to 25% of a company's revenue or revenue targets. So as I said, your company's growth stage is that most important factor in deciding the size of your budget. So companies that are seeking to maintain their market positions should be budgeting somewhere between 2 to 10% of their revenue goals towards marketing. Companies with growth targets of more than 50%, so high, fast growth stage companies, should budget somewhere closer to 15 to 30% of projected revenue goals. And the other thing I would say is that we also recommend that you save 10 to 15% of your overall marketing budget for emergency or like ad hoc requests so that you can react to market changes quickly and without needing to go back and ask for additional budget later. Two tools that may be helpful when planning your strategy, focus, and budget for 2023 are the BCG growth matrix and the SWOT analysis. The growth share matrix can help your company decide which products or services to either keep, sell, or invest more into. The matrix contains 4 distinct categories: dogs, cash cows, stars, and question marks. So cash cows are the low growth, high share, and you should milk these products for cash to reinvest elsewhere. Stars are your high growth, high share, and you should significantly invest in these products as they have a high future potential. Question marks are high growth, low share. You should invest in or discard these depending on their chances of becoming stars in the future. And finally, dogs are low share, low growth. You should liquidate, divest, or reposition these products or services. And we'll share a link to a website that covers this BCG growth matrix in more detail in our follow-up email. Ultimately, though, the matrix can help you decide what to and how to prioritize your various marketing activities. The second tool is the SWOT analysis, and this is one you probably are all more familiar with. During a SWOT analysis, you will identify what you believe are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The S and the W side of things analyze your company internally, while the O and the T, opportunities and threats, are more of an external analysis. And just kind of break down what those areas are. So strengths are things that your company does well. They are qualities that separate you from your competitors. They could be internal resources such as skilled, knowledgeable staff, tangible assets such as intellectual proprietary technologies. Weaknesses are things that your company lacks, things your competitors do better than you. Resource limitations, maybe an unclear, unique selling proposition. Opportunities are things like underserved markets for specific products, maybe few competitors in your area, maybe there's an emerging need for your products or services, as well as press or media coverage of your company. Some threats would be emerging competitors, changing regulatory environments, negative press or media coverage, as well as maybe changing attitudes towards your company and industry. And this tool can help determine what to market as a strength and what to be mindful of as a weakness, as well as how to capitalize on opportunities and mitigate threats.
So now we have a question for you. Do you perform an annual SWOT before budgeting? I'm going to publish a poll that you can answer in just a few moments. And yeah, just take a moment to answer. Let's see. All right, so it looks like the majority are saying no, which is totally okay. Now is a great time to start implementing annual SWOTs so you can better inform your marketing budget going forward year after year.
Excellent. Thank you, Delaney. So knowing where you stand in the marketplace can help you determine realistic goals for your business. If you already have clear business goals, make sure your marketing budget exists to support those goals in the long term and the short term. Some questions to ask are, do you want to increase your year-over-year revenue? You could consider expanding your lead generation capabilities or creating new campaigns offering additional services to existing customers. Or need a new brand identity that better aligns with your current business model, start thinking about setting aside money to hire a marketing agency or giving your internal marketing team enough time and resources to plan and execute. Or, want to become less reliant on word of mouth marketing, determine how you can generate more leads in your industry. For example, a new website, pay-per-click, or content marketing to help improve SEO. All of these ideas don't have to make it to your marketing budget just yet, but they'll help you imagine the directions you can take as you begin to set your marketing foundation. Speaking of marketing foundation, that leads me to my next slide. So once you understand your company's position, your business goals, and your marketing goals, you can begin planning exactly who you are marketing to and how. This is where we begin to build that marketing foundation. Ask yourself, do you know your ICP, persona, and buyer's journey? Have you analyzed past marketing data? What worked and what didn't? What is the past and current spend? Or what is the past and current ROI? Do you understand your sales funnel? For example, lead conversion rates or sales qualified leads versus marketing qualified leads. This is where tracking data and historically analyzing where challenges are in marketing is important. Also, which marketing channels target your ICP and personas and where in the sales funnel? And finally, do you need to budget for any one-off projects next year? For example, keep in mind that websites should be updated every 3 to 5 years, and branding should be evaluated and possibly updated every 3 to 5 years. So my question for you all is, do you know what your marketing funnel looks like? We're going to put up a poll and would love to know which of these 5 funnels do you think your marketing looks like? So we're going to share that now. Take your time to go ahead and answer, and we'll share the results. So some options we have are too many leads, not enough leads, a low close rate, not enough visitors, or it's the ideal funnel. So excellent. So it looks, oh, great. We're all still answering. Good activity. It's good to take a moment to think about this. So this is great to see. So far it looks like a large number of you have a low close rate, and coming in second is not enough visitors, and then not enough leads or too many leads. So very interesting. Thank you all for participating. Very helpful. So now that you've answered, this is kind of the next takeaway I want you to think about. Now that you've answered, it would be interesting to know if you answered based on instinct or data. Keep in mind, you need to track the following to really understand your current funnel shape. And this includes the number of visitors to your website, the number of leads converted, specifically marketing qualified leads, the number of opportunities converted, and the number of closed deals. And I really want to emphasize that it is important for your marketing and sales teams to be aligned and communicating in order to get the full picture of how many leads are closed by sales and to see the closed loop between the two.
So now let's talk about, excuse me, now let's talk about your marketing budget. Once you've figured out which marketing strategies and tactics will drive your business goals and fill your funnel, you should start breaking down the expenses in your ideal budget for these activities for the next year. It may feel overwhelming at first, but start with a simple, clean budget spreadsheet. This is just a simple example, and fill in any already ongoing marketing expenses. Then reference any marketing plans you have for the next month, quarter, or year, if you have them. Even if some marketing activities have no associated costs, make sure you include them, because this can be really helpful in the future when you're reviewing historical spend. Maybe this year you're using a free social media tool, but maybe next year you'll have increased spend because you're going to focus more on social media and want to allocate more resources in that area. In a marketing budget, every activity should have an associated dollar amount. Even if you're estimating future expenses, it's better to have an idea than no clue at all. So if you're not sure how much a current marketing expense costs, reach out to your accounting or finance departments. And if you're not sure how much a future expense will cost, research an average and make sure you round up. Once you've added all of the marketing expenses based on your marketing plans to your ideal budget, you want to narrow down and prioritize expenses based on your goals. Make sure you leave room for flexibility. You want to create a budget that can be adjusted in the future depending on industry shifts or a change to company focus. Also, make sure to let finance, sales, or any other relevant departments review the budget. Over time, a good marketing budget will show your company the direct correlation between marketing spend and hitting business goals. while keeping you on track and more mindful of which marketing activities contribute to your plans. So we're almost done. Before we get to questions, I'd like to share some of the common mistakes we see clients make when creating their marketing budgets. First is there's no diversification of the marketing. That includes no diversification of channels, strategies, or tactics. Making assumptions that are not based on data. Only focusing on new customer acquisition. So you might need to keep in mind having an internal marketing strategy for maybe if hiring is an issue, or marketing strategies to keep your existing customers. Not having any clear set goals. Those goals should be what drive everything for your budget for next year. And then avoid consistently analyzing performance and using that analysis to optimize. So you should always be looking at data, optimizing, and looking at your performance. So keep those mistakes in mind, but don't be afraid to dive into building your own marketing budget.
All right, so it is now time for Q&A. If you haven't already, please submit your questions to the Q&A function and we will answer as many as we can. So our first question is, how do I know which marketing channel to focus more on versus another when preparing my budget?
Sorry, waiting for Catherine to answer, or am I going to answer?
You're fine.
So the channel really depends on what that SWOT analysis, I think, would be kind of the first step to see, where you need to focus, and also thinking about what your goals are for next year, right? So if you are, let's say that you have an issue, let's say your funnel, for example, your problem was not getting enough leads, right? So that funnel isn't bringing in the awareness, right? It's not bringing people in. So if that was what your funnel looked like, one of the things you're going to focus on and what are the awareness tactics to bring people to your website. So you're going to want to focus, first, you want to make sure your website is technically sound for SEO. So meta descriptions, H1 tags, things like that. Once that technical stuff is done, you're going to want to build out a content calendar with blogging and social media that specifically speaks to your ICP and personas that you've hopefully identified. So that will help, answer the questions when people go out there to do searches. Your content shows up and brings people to your website. So knowing that the problem that this company has is awareness, they're going to focus on awareness tactics and then set a budget for what that costs.
And I'd like to build off of you, Megan, a little bit is also building a marketing strategy. We want to be able to determine where we can meet the audience at, and it doesn't feel disruptive. It feels natural. It feels organic. And when you build a strategy, you'll be able to see what channels is your audience engaging the most on, and you can find a way to fit in there too. So, great.
Our next question is, how does the marketing budget fluctuate between different industries?
So there is kind of an average. B2C tends to spend more on marketing than B2B, but the numbers aren't they don't swing hugely. Where we focus on B2B at Hivehouse, and when you're looking at the industries, it's somewhere between typically like 8 and 10%. So I think it was somewhere like 8.9%, 8.5%. But it's really between that 8 and 10%, which is kind of what we see most. And that's between manufacturing, professional services. They're all kind of hovering around the same breakdown.
All right. And then our next question is, can you give me an example of how performing a SWOT affects my marketing budget?
I kind of already answered this with my first question, and that is do the SWOT, see what, where you need to focus your energy, and then see what the services cost to support whatever strategy you're going to go after. So I kind of covered that with the awareness thing. If you're focused, if your business is, if you're struggling with a new competitor, you're going to probably invest a bit of your budget in doing some analysis of your competitors, what they're doing right, what they're not, and do better than what they're doing. Taking a look at backlinks would be another thing I would do if the competitor was the focus. What backlinks are they getting? Should you also be getting those backlinks and developing the relationships with those websites? So yeah, there'd be a little bit of research there involved, and then depending on some of the other things, your data, you're going to pick some different marketing strategies.
And then our next question is, what are the best resources to refer to when estimating and researching a future expense?
I'll go ahead and start us off on this one, Megan. This feels like a very straightforward, kind of simple answer, but Google. I mean that in a very serious way. I feel as though HubSpot and also SEMrush, I find to be great places to start because they provide up-to-date news on data and trends in marketing and what's going to be the ROI, what to potentially budget for, and they give a lot of really great best practices and examples. And these two places are just a place to start. As you go through and you deep dive in your search, finding best practices, what are other companies similar as you doing? And what does that look like? There's just so many resources out there, but I think just taking the time and doing those searches yourself, you can really find a lot of great information.
Mm-hmm. I would say the same thing.
Our next question is, what do the majority of clients in the industries you serve typically spend their budget on?
Great question.
Well, for us, I only can speak for our company, but we focus mostly on developing content and distributing that. Whether we're focusing on a thought leadership kind of focus, where we build out an editorial calendar based on what the companies, what they want to share about their business and their industry, and answering questions for people. So we do a lot of content with that, and we'll do the thought leadership, we'll do social media. We focus a lot on LinkedIn, creating content offers, so ebooks, anything like we call them lead magnets. So we do a lot of that, and then it's promoting that content, whether it's through social or other channels, depending on the client.
And then we also have the question, are there any new budget areas people should think about going into 2023?
Yeah, I would like to add, for 2023, a lot of the articles I've been reading, a lot of the trends have been going towards video. I mean, video content it's been around, but it is going to increase even more. That's where no matter what your audience is, that's, receiving information in a very quick and concise way under 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's really going to be the trend that we're definitely seeing in this next year.
Mm-hmm. And to kind of piggyback off of that, a lot of the changes that Google has been making recently with their algorithms have been really prioritizing with helpful content and going back to what Catherine said, video. So we are seeing, especially with COVID and everything that happened in the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of companies shifting their budget from their in-person trade shows and conferences to more of what I was mentioning a few minutes ago, is the thought leadership, doing that same kind of activity, but through webinars, podcasts, and through posting on their personal social channels and building up people in companies as thought leaders for their companies.
And we have one last question, kind of going back to the budget percentage. Does the percent to budget change depending on margins? What is that 8 to 10%? I've not found anything about margin having an impact on the budget. But the 8 to 10% is 8 to 10% of projected revenue for next year. That's what you base the number on. All right, so that was our last question.
All right.
Great questions, by the way.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
All right, so thanks for your questions today. As I mentioned earlier, we will be sharing the budget checklist. We'll share a link with more information about that BCG growth matrix. And I'm going to include a link to that funnel. I didn't mention it, but there's a blog that covers the funnel a little bit more, and it shows what each of those funnels and kind of what you should focus on if your funnel looks like, one of those other than the ideal one, what you should focus on depending on the issues you're having there. In the meantime, as you work through your marketing budget, just reach out if you have any questions. We'd be happy to help. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. Catherine and I have our usernames right on the screen, and you can also connect with Hivehouse as well. And lastly, just thank you for joining. I know it's short and sweet. We like to get you guys able to go back to work, but stay tuned for more webinars. We have more planned for 2023. So we hope you will join us again. Thanks so much.
Great. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye.